Hello. So I tried filming an episode a couple different times now, and both times I stopped it because it just didn't feel fully like myself. It didn't feel like what I wanted to really be sharing. Both times I stopped, both times I kind of just questioned myself on what I was really saying, and even I caught myself midway through really asking myself, what is this point that I'm trying to get across? And I think that is the difficult thing when it comes down to creating videos like this. I think I think it's always this constant of feeling like we need to say the most powerful, the most impactful thing that we can possibly think of to wow the world. But see, it creates this unbearable pressure, and this pressure that hurts. It's a pressure that I have felt constantly in my life, to this like unbearable state that it feels like everything you have to do has to be perfect. It has to be at this level that just exceeds everyone's expectations, and that blows every last person away and proves how undeniably great you are at what you do. And it just holds this standard that is so unhealthy. And even as I'm saying this, it's building in my chest. And we're like 15 seconds into this thing. But it's so difficult. It is so difficult trying to do what you want to do and be successful at it. And I think this is where, as I'm saying this, I think this is where I've gone wrong for so long, in so many years, in everything that I've ever done. I feel this pressure, this immense pressure, like I said, to be this version of myself that isn't even myself. It's this version of myself that I feel I need to portray for everyone else around me, for every person that's watching, for every person that has ever watched any of my other videos and resonated with them and agreed with them and felt any sense of impact from them. And ultimately, I appreciate almost the validation that comes from that, but it's incredibly stressful, and it's anxiety inducing as well. And it's not obviously the comments and the validation is not a bad thing, and it's something that's so beautiful, and I'm so beyond grateful for those, or for that. But it's this feeling when you start to create a sense of a community or even a sense of a following, but it's this feeling that you need to hold yourself to this line. You have to show up in that, as that form of yourself, every single day. You have to be as consistent as humanly possible and do the same things over and over and over and over again for everyone else, not for yourself. And this is something that I've been trying to understand a lot better over the course of this year, and something that I've been trying to really work on constantly. But obviously, as you can tell how the start of this video started, it's something that I struggle with immensely. It feels unbearable trying to create online. I've had this toxic, I wouldn't necessarily say toxic, but almost an unhealthy relationship with social media for so long. And part of it is because I didn't understand how to create. I didn't understand how to document. I didn't understand what it really meant to make what I wanted to make. And even now, I still struggle with this a lot. when I was sitting down trying to film this video, but it was 3 other types of videos that had different topics. Each time I just stopped in the middle of it because I didn't know what I was saying. I just lost complete track of what I was actually trying to get across. And I think that's part of it, is because like it's okay not to have this clear vision. It's okay to not have a clear statement of what you are really thinking. And it's okay to share that. It's okay to share confusion. But see, I think from an outside perspective, we're often told that we need to be clear. We need to be concise. When we think about building something, when we think about building a community, we think about building it off of concise, basically just conciseness. Being so dead set on what you know, sharing what you know, not sharing confusion, not sharing the unknown, not sharing questions. And I think this is part of where I really struggle with sharing things online, is because I often feel like the things that I have to say, they may not be true. They may have some relevancy to myself, but I don't necessarily what percentage of relevancy they have to me. I might not believe in them 100%, but I might think that they make sense, or that they do hold some relevancy. And I think that's why I don't create as often as I would like to. I think that's why I don't document as often as I would like to. But I do think that's something that's so powerful about the documentation process, is when you document, you are allowed to share the things that you don't know. You're allowed to share your confusion. You're allowed to share your questions. You are allowed just to be unsure about things in your life. And for me right now, that feels like something that it's like a weight lifted off my shoulder, because I no longer feel this need to tell you what I know or walk you through the findings that I've had in my life and try and put them all into these massively concise words and come strip my whole point down into a 5-minute period. Because again, it's limiting. And I think it is good to sometimes put yourself into a box and see yourself become creative and see what you can come up with and see how you feel about a certain topic. But at the same time, I also think it is so important to share those things that you don't know. And one of my biggest dreams with this platform, with anything that I ever want to do in my life, is to create a real sense of a community. That's what I've always wanted to do. From starting from day one, when I used to run a podcast, the whole goal was always to create a community. It was to create this community or a community and a space where I could really converse with people and talk to people and learn. And I think that's where I kind of went off my path of what I first wanted. Was I now try and share things that I've learned, which I do think is beautiful. But it's also equally as beautiful to learn with one another or learn from other people. And I think that's something, or it's just this space again that I've really lacked, and this place that I've honestly neglected. I neglected how much you, people watching and listening, actually know. I've neglected what I can learn from outside sources. I've neglected that it's okay to not know everything, and it's okay to share things that you don't know and receive feedback and answers and guidance from people that are out there in the world. I think what we're really trying to do as people is connect with people. And of course, it's great to share these findings that you know so you can help other people. And then also, it's great to open yourself up to the things that other people are sharing. But again, to create that sense of community, it is a back and forth sort of situation. And right now, this feels like kind of a breakthrough moment for myself, because it takes this pressure off of having to show up and tell you something that I know. And it really opens it up to creating a sense of a conversation. And again, that creating a sense of a community. I want to speak to people. I want to talk with people. I want to converse with people. I want to teach people what I know and then also learn from them. And I just want to create a space where we can all be ourselves. I don't want to not be myself online ever again. Like, that is the worst feeling in the world, is feeling like you need to show up as somebody that you're not. Is feeling like you need to show up and say things just to seem like you have it all put together, when in reality, you don't have anything put together. Like, my life right now is a jumbled up fucking mess. Like, it is a shit show. And that is okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with the fact that my life is a jumbled up shit show. That is something that is beautiful, because it means that I'm figuring it out. If I sat there in this jumbled up mess and didn't try to work through it, if I didn't try to seek guidance and help from external sources, then yeah, of course, it might be a jumbled up mess that would stay as a jumbled up mess. But right now, I'm trying to take action. I'm trying to build something. I'm trying to create this space again that is beautiful. And that's a place that I can go, and a place that I want to be, and a place that I want to create in. And for a long time, it always had this unwavering pressure around it. It felt like if I didn't do it a certain way, it wasn't going to be good and it wasn't going to grow. Whereas now I want to just be and create, because I want to create for me. And I want to honestly just create real sense of communication and connection with the people that watch these types of videos, with the people that actually feel something from them. See, lately in my life, I've started identifying a lot of spaces where I've been nervous, where I've honestly stopped myself from doing things that I want to do because I overanalyze who I am, what I'm trying to do, where I'm trying to go. And I feel like in order to take a step forward, in order to make a decision and take action, I need to know everything. I need to know the whole outcome of my life and what it looks like moving forward. But that's not true. And I think this is, again, the beautiful piece about this, is that it's just being and taking people along with you as you're figuring it out. That's what I want this channel to be. That's what I want my community and my space to be. Is it's not me sharing all these things that I've learned and that I know. It's sharing the process of it. It's sharing so that you can see how I'm doing this, of what I'm doing to try and get there. Of course, I'm still going to create the things that I want to make, and I'm going to challenge myself in different forms of creative ways, and really just do things that inspire me and speak to me. But again, at the end of the day, it's about so much more than that. It's about the process of it. It's about, again, building that community from the start. It's showing people what you're trying to do and being open and honest about that, not trying to portray that you are that person, that you have it all figured out. But it's showing the process. It's showing the journey. It's showing that you are flawed, you're imperfect, you don't have it all put together, and that's okay. Like, I have wanted to just pursue this with everything that I have, but I've always stopped because I didn't know how. I didn't know what that looked like, and I've always even just said that I wanted to create, again, that community, just have that space where I can just be and I can show you what I'm doing in my life, because I do a lot of fun shit and a lot of crazy stuff and a lot of exciting things. And I'm such a diverse, unique person that loves so many different things and is also trying so many different things, because I'm just trying to figure life out. And there's a lot of down days within that. I encounter a lot of struggles in my life. I have had a lot of different forms of setbacks this year, and a lot of different struggles, and a lot of moments that I had to work through. And oftentimes I wish that I could look back on those moments, and I wish I could hear my real thoughts about what that was like. but what I experienced in that moment and how that felt, and just watched myself move through that. Like, I want to see that. I want to see that side of myself. I want to see the imperfection. I want to see me grow, and I want to share that with you, because as much as it is for me to watch myself grow and to watch myself move through life and create what I want to create and do what I want to do, it's also about hopefully giving you some inspiration as well, and almost just giving you this feeling that you're not alone in this. Because again, my life is fucking and just wild. Like, it is not as pretty and glamorous as it might seem. Like, on the outside, I've always portrayed that it is so beautiful, and that I am constantly just the happiest go lucky person in the whole world, that is also open with their emotions and their mental health, and loves to advocate that. But again, when I advocate it, I don't advocate it from a place of this is me going through it. It's usually from a place of, once I've gone through it, or even if I am sharing it, it's just oversharing, and it's just messy. Whereas I want to just show you what is happening in my life, what I'm experiencing, what I'm going through, because again, it's flawed and it's imperfect, and it's something that oh my gosh, excuse me. It's something that I actually just love about myself, is that I put myself into these situations where I'm forced to grow, and it's very uncomfortable, and it's challenging, it's difficult, and there's a lot of ups and downs that happen in my life. And I always claim that I have like 45,000 different lives going on at once. And every time I go see my therapist, I always tell him, like, I have a million different stories that I can tell you, because there's so many things that happen in my life, and I want to document that to the best degree as possible, so that I can create that space for you just to see that it's not always this big linear life cycle, and we're just on the up and up, and happiness is just constantly there, because it's honestly just up and down constantly. And I'm sure you have this in your life. I'm sure that everyone has this in their life, where it's a constant up and down. It's the ebb and flow of life. It's really just growing. Like, that's all that it is just constant growth. Like, you'll obviously see the gradual uphill climb, but it is, again, just one of these things that's so beautiful. And I don't want to stop myself from sharing this anymore. I want to share with you, or I want to share the things that I do with you. And I want to share them in an honest way. I don't want to just share because I think that I have something to share. Sometimes I will do that. Like, sometimes I will sit down and I will tell you something that is on my mind, that I really feel and that I really align with. But honestly, other times I'll just talk because I feel that, or because I think it just opens up the open line of communication. I think it creates that sense of community. I think it's exactly what's missing within my platform, and maybe within like all the social media platforms in general. But it's just this open form of communication where I don't need to tell, but rather I can just speak and talk, and hopefully you can relate, and hopefully you can feel something from that. And again, just understand that I'm not some person that has it figured out and is just trying to create stories and tell them online. Like, I'm a person that's trying to figure it out. I'm a person that's trying to go through it. I'm a person that is just trying to grow and just see where I can go with all of this. I don't know where it's all going to go. I don't know what it's all going to look like. But at the end of the day, I think that it'll end up being something that's far greater than what it truly is right now. And it's not going to come from me just sitting down and telling, and also just portraying to be, again, somebody that I'm not. It's going to come from accepting and acknowledging the things that I don't know. It's going to come from asking for guidance from the people that watch, asking for guidance from the people that are around me in my life. And it's going to come from these really shit moments that do happen in my life, and the constant just up and down of everything that's been happening in life. Because yeah, right now is an interesting period of my life. And I think it's not something to shame, but rather it's something to lean on, and it's something to utilize. And it's something that's going to one day be a story to look back on. And I think that's the most beautiful bit about this whole entire video episode channel, is that it's me documenting. So whether it's a beautiful moment of my life or a really shit one, it's always going to be something that is beautiful to look back on. So it's sharing the things that you don't know to create the community. And it's just sharing those things that you don't know so that when you do know them, you can always look back. Or even just being vulnerable and honest and open, and just not portraying yourself as somebody that you're not, and just accepting and embracing this point that you're in, not trying to pretend that you're at a far better spot in your life when you're really not. I know I've done that for quite some time. I try to convince myself that I'm this huge, hyper successful person in all these different ways. And in certain avenues in my life, I would definitely claim that. But in a lot of other ways, absolutely not. And I just want to be the truest version of myself. And honestly, this feels like the truest version of video that I've ever made in my life, because I didn't even sit to think about what I was saying the whole entire time through. And I think there's something beautiful about that. So anyways, that is my random ramble, and I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you watching if you watched. And I'm excited to share more about my life as I'm working through it, not just these wonderful creations and these statements, but again, just sharing the things that I don't necessarily know, so that we can hopefully have a conversation. Because seriously, if you want to reach out, message me, talk to me about anything, I'm so open. And yeah, I'd really love that, because I want to build the community. That's the main goal moving forward. Anyways, I appreciate you. We'll see you soon. Next 2 weeks from now. Peace.